Fox News alert. A judge in New York is ordering Donald Trump to pay over $350 million in fines and banning the former president from running a business in the state of New York for the next 3 years. This case was decided by a single judge, Judge Engoron. A strange guy, but not as strange as these charges. They were brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James, who campaigned on fighting Trump, not crime. Remember, Letitia James visited the Biden White House 3 times. The woman brought a case that, according to the Associated Press, has never been brought in the history of the state. This statute was written to criminalize phony salesmen swindling folks out of their homes, or fake doctors selling bogus therapies, crimes with clear victims and damages. In this case, there were no victims or damages. Not a single bank or Trump customer ever complained. Everyone made money, and Trump paid hundreds of millions in taxes and employed thousands of people. Letitia James said Trump's penthouse wasn't as big as he said it was, and Mar-a-Lago was only $18 million. And Judge Nudie, we call him that because he takes nude gym selfies, agreed and slapped the Trump organization with a killer penalty, even though an appellate court ruled that 3/4 of this case had passed the statute of limitations. Now, legal experts say Trump will easily win on appeal, but that's not the point. This is a financial assassination attempt of a political target. The judge is also placing an observer inside the Trump organization, in other words, a mole, for the next 3 years, to blow the whistle if he sees any fraud or if he notices the marble floors are too shiny. Now, if Trump wins re-election, expect the mole to declare fraud. Letitia James, who's supposed to be a neutral administrator of justice, spewed venom. Listen.
Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal. The scale and the scope of Donald Trump's fraud is staggering, and so too is his ego.
Here's Donald Trump's reaction.
This is Russia, this is China, this is the same game. All comes out of the DOJ, it all comes out of Biden. It's a witch hunt against his political opponent. These are radical left Democrats, they're lunatics, and it's election interference. If I weren't running, none of this stuff would have ever happened. None of these lawsuits would have ever happened. Nothing would, I would have had a nice life. But I enjoy this life for a different reason. We're going to make America great again. These are corrupt people. These are people that shouldn't be allowed to do the things they do. And they're using this as weaponization against a political opponent who's up a lot in the polls. It's all headed up by Biden, who's destroying our country. So this is Russia, this is China, this is what you've been reading about all your lives, and it's happening right here in our country.
Meanwhile, it's day 2 of the trial of the century. Fani Willis and Loverboy. Fani was supposed to take the stand today, but she didn't show up because it was impossible to dig herself into a deeper hole. Instead, she sent her daddy, John Floyd III, a former Black Panther, of course. We heard yesterday Fani paid Wade back in cash for the romantic trips, but had no proof. Fani's daddy says it's a black thing.
Did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, see, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay? You know, I was trained, and most black folks, they hide cash or they keep cash, and I trained, you always keep some cash.
Did Fani's daddy know about the Loverboy? He said he heard about him on the news like the rest of us. The last boyfriend Fani's daddy knew about was DJ Deuce.
She had a boyfriend when I first got there.
And did you meet her boyfriend?
Yeah, I met him often.
Okay, and did you know him by any specific nickname?
Yeah, Deuce. He would do weddings and so forth and so on. He was a disc jockey, play music. So he had all his stuff was always in the way, and I was always having to try to push it aside. And, yeah.
Wait a second. If Fani was dating DJ Deuce, but Fani's friend said she was dating Loverboy, was Fani two-timing Loverboy and Deuce? Like everything in Fulton County, it's complicated. When Fani moved out of the house her dad was living in, did her daddy know where she moved to?
No, and I didn't want to know. I intentionally did not want to know because I was not, if somebody stuck a gun to my head and I could tell them, I wasn't going to tell them anyway, or I'd have made up something, but I didn't want to know.
So Fani's daddy doesn't know where his daughter lives in case a kidnapper puts a gun to his head and demands her whereabouts. Fani's daddy doesn't know where his daughter lives or who she dates. Well, what does he know?
Before COVID was even here in the United States, remember I lived in South Africa and I've traveled the world. I knew COVID was coming before. I knew COVID was around before. They may have announced it in 20, but in fact, I knew about it and I knew what was happening in 19.
So Fani's daddy knew COVID was coming before Fauci and didn't warn us? Bad daddy. Later, Fani's daddy pulled a magnifying glass out to look at documents like he was Sherlock Holmes. It was quite the performance. Fani and daddy have a lot in common. Both actors, both insist cash is a black thing. But isn't that the point?
I don't do my friends like that. So if you tell me it's a G, then you're going to get $1,000. Whatever it is, I didn't ever make him produce receipts to me. For his 50th birthday, I consider that I took him to Belize. And I took him to Belize because, I don't want to discuss his personal business, but I'm happy Mr. Wade is still here with us. And I did 50 big, very big.
That 4,000 is part of my words, cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, H-O-R-D-E.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that. Any circumstances to you or in court.
All right, back on track.
The hoard, cash hoard.
Now, logical Americans saw Fani brag about eating caviar, lying about her boyfriend, playing the race card, yelling at the judge, and thinks the women should be disqualified. But the media, they think Fani's hot.
This idea that women of color have to sit there and be demure and take it, there were people on social media who were saying, oh, she's coming in too hot. No, she wasn't.
I thought she was fiery. I thought she said important things. I think that she set herself up for a lot of criticism, but I think this is a woman who doesn't give a damn about that.
They don't have a case against her. I think this is certainly just a political move.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.